Hi.
Thank you for coming to my interview.
Yeah.
Um, we want to know how you got into art.
How I got into art?
Yeah.
Oh, I got into art, I think, from looking at Norval Morso's paintings, things like that, and some other artists in the community, and I started fiddling around with colors, and it came to me.
What gives you your ideals for the paintings you do?
I think it's stories that my people always shared with me. My mother, native stories, so that I can remember.
How long have you been painting for?
Oh, a little over 45 years, maybe 46 years.
46 years.
Yeah.
How did you get into your style of art?
It just, I think that's what comes natural. That's the part where I would say there's a lot of styles of art, and mine is when you see those beings inside these paintings. Not these ones here, but the ones I do quite a bit of. They have little people inside the paintings. That's what I do. That's probably my different than other artists.
What forms of art have you tried before?
Pardon?
What forms of art have you tried before knowing woodlands art was your style?
Oh, I think I tried everything. I tried. I didn't like oil painting. I didn't like. I done a lot of clay, worked with clay, and painting on clay, and I never got onto that. But I really liked. I really liked this kind of paint that I do, acrylic, and that's what I get off on. So that's what I do today. Still.
Did you take any lessons?
I think I don't know if I took lessons, but I taught. I talked to a lot of artists. Artists sometimes talk right into the night, all night. Just they're not painting, but they're talking about art, and that's what I did. And that's how you get into art, because it's an ongoing process. It never ends.
How have you felt? Have you ever felt challenged in the industry of art?
I don't think so. It's very free. It's very free if you know the way the people are and everything like that. There's never no confrontation or anything like that.
Have you ever struggled to explain the concept of your art?
I think that is sometimes what happens, and I've even went down to close to Chicago one time. Some girls there, they were doing the same kind of native art like me, and their professors were giving them hell because they didn't say that was painting, and so I had to go down there and explain to them. They paid my way down there, and when I got down there, none of those professors they never said anything to me. They never challenged me or anything. So, and I went there with the idea of challenging somebody what art is.
Can you explain any of the concepts of the stories of these paintings you brought here today?
Well, it's always freedom. Like these two guys there. One is looking one way and the other guy is looking that way. And the fish here, the fishermen there, they like that. This was actually ordered. This fish was ordered, and they never picked it up. But some people like fish, and that's what I do. I will never paint elephants because I've never been in elephant country. So I won't do that.
Do you feel like you're sharing Indigenous culture history through your art?
I think so. I think if you wait around for the next 40 or 50 years, these will be in question at that time, because nothing moves fast. Everything is slow. A lot of people don't understand stuff right away. It's got to be studied, and these will be studied. I think.
Being in your field as a Native artist, do you feel recognized as a Canadian artist?
Well, it doesn't really matter because I go for the people that collect art, and I've seen a lot of art that was put away already by my art that is not even shown in public. People have collected it and they put it in their drawers and everything like that. So whatever, I don't tend to understand those people that collect art, so I'm okay with that.
So we're going to go on the second part of the interview
Right?
about the culture.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get into the culture?
I was born into the culture. I'm a Anishinaabe from Jiging, First Nation in Manitoulin Island, and Eagle Clan, and everything that is ceremonial we'd done before. And at one time that was hidden from us, we done that too. And a lot of things that we're trying to wake up today to. And we're very proud to. Most of us pipe carriers are pretty proud to do our pipe ceremonies because we don't have to hide anymore.
How did you get into passing down teachings and being a storyteller?
I think that's a natural thing. That's a natural thing that you want to tell anybody that'll listen to you, that how to do respect and everything like that comes through the teachings of the elders. If people listen to elders, they'll get all those teachings.
Have you ever done a ceremonial, and what type?
I've done all kinds of ceremonies. I've even done marriage ceremonies. I've married people and things like that. I've done all kinds of ceremonies through my sacred pipe. Yeah.
Did you grow up knowing the language, and how were the teachings passed to you?
Yeah, listening to the elders, I think, and being able to talk the native language, Ojibwe, it makes it a lot easier because I understand everything what's being said by the native, the older people.
Yeah. Is there a teaching or two you can share with us today?
A teaching, I didn't think about it. That's a real, that's a real fast blow to me. I don't know. I think to watch how you talk to the younger people, and to make the younger people have respect, which is the thing. And they said that years ago. When it comes in share, listen good, and that way you won't pass any, you won't bypass any teaching that's being said. Because in the old days, we didn't sit down and said, there's the teaching. No, we picked it up by listening to the elders and saying what they're talking about. And we got into what they were talking about. That way, that's how we picked up our teachings, because it wasn't like a school and saying this is one and one is two and this is the teaching. It wasn't like that at all.
What kind of things have you done for the city and for the people that are seeking the knowledge of culture, like language and traditions and ceremonies?
I think I was pretty busy in Sault Ste. Marie. I used to go to the police station and do Native awareness teachings to the cops, to the police station, to the police, and then I got a medal for outstanding in Sault Ste. Marie from the mayor from the city of Sault Ste. Marie, and I think I've done my best with volunteering all over the place. So I think I've done my bit.
Is there any negative teachings do you believe that are in the culture?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't. It's one thing I would never teach any of my kids, or anybody for that matter, to there is native teachings. There's always, in all cultures, there's all native teachings. And you don't want to talk about them. You don't want to bring them up. You got better things to think about than those kind of teachings.
Have you ever experienced any discrimination to the culture?
Well, I think there is. That's sometimes there's teachings on that. On whoever is the one that doesn't like natives or something will go to a place where there's a crowd of natives so he can do his thing. You don't. The guy that doesn't like something, they won't stay away. He'll go over there and try to stir up something. That's what I think of. And when you see those kind of people, you just sort of walk away from them. That's what I do.
How do you feel about the culture in today's generation and future generations that may come?
I think it's everything is. There is people that are trying to bring it back, like me, but it's like a losing battle. If we can just maybe think about it a bit, and it'll help. Like, we got to be proud of who we are, whatever culture you come from. Be proud of that, and that's about all we can do.
Have you ever been to other communities than the Sioux?
Oh yeah, I've been all over the place. I've taken years and years ago. I used to take this elder around to all the ceremonies down south. Ernie DeBosky. I was his driver. I was his runner. I ran for stuff that he wanted. If he wanted water, and he was an elder, and I was young that time, but I learned a lot from that old elder. So that's how it is. You gotta open yourself up when you're young to help those elders. You can't. They won't ask you. You gotta make yourself available.
Do you have a native name, and what do you go?
I belong to the Eagle clan. My name is Perenamush, Black Dog, and I've had that name since years ago. But there is a lot of clans in where I come from, and that's why I'm proud of that.
So we're going to go into the interview talking about residential schools and
Wow.
experience.
Would you like some water or anything?
Sure, give me some. Yeah. Did it stop?
No, he's still recording.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Why did you go to residential school?
That's. I was too small, I think, to know. It's just like a person just waking up and being there, you know. Later on, listening to people, I realized that there was scarce of food in our res and things like that. But when you're a little boy and you just suddenly find yourself in a residential school and you can't go home that night, that's really not a very nice story to tell. How I got there, because when you're a little boy, you don't know how you got there. I was 12 years old. I was 11 and a half when I got there, and that was it.
What was the school you attended?
Garnier Residential School in Spanish. It was by water. It was about 50 miles from home. But the way the road goes way around like a U, it's about 150 miles away, 140 miles away. But one guy in the wintertime went from the school there right across the ice and made it home. That was a big story in our days. That's a long time ago. Wesley was his name. and he walked home through the ice. Yeah.
What type of school was residential school?
Residential school was, I don't really know what they were trying to do, but I've heard later that they were trying to take the Indian out of the boy and out of the person or whatever. They try to take I don't know. There's so many different experts today talking about why, but I don't know. It was all I remember is a whole bunch of priests with their long robes. Mekidilkuniak, they used to call them. Mekidilkuniak means dressed in black. That was way before Johnny Cash.
How long were you in residential school?
I was about 2.5 years that I remember. Go ahead.
Johnny Cash.
Thank you.
I think it was his brother Tommy.
Yeah.
What was some of the experiences you can share with us today about residential school?
Oh, lots of things. When things happen in those days, like there was Ben Hogan, was a great golfer at that time, and all the native boys went into the bush and got those little wee sticks that's got a root to it, like a golfer. Yeah, root, and make that, and they had nice little golfing rods they used, and then we used those sponge balls, things like that. And everybody became Ben Hogan in those days. That's a long time ago. But Ben Hogan, I think, in the in the real world, I guess he was the top golfer, and we followed suit. Yeah.
How do you feel affected from residential schools?
I don't. That's a big, heavy-duty question because I didn't get anything out of that, and I became when I got out of it, I realized today that when you don't have no direction, you're getting kind of screwed up. That's how I became a drunk. I abused alcohol for quite a while. I think I abused alcohol for at least 12. No, when I came out 15, 20, about 5, 6, 9 years I abused alcohol. And that's from having no direction. So I think I would say I blame that on them, or I don't know, some other experts would say different, but not me.
What do you think about the government payout and recognition?
I don't think there's never enough. If a person got 10 million or whatever, there's a guy I heard one time, he says, they had that excuse, like even me, they had that excuse. They said, well, you're a painter now and you worked 30 years, now you're retired. And I heard a guy say, yeah, you could have all those things, but that hurt is still inside you. That pain, that thing that they went into you is still inside you. So it doesn't really matter how much money they gave you. That's not the point. But I don't know if somebody went on the concept of money. You know, I don't know if I would use that, or even, you know, money. I was never raised with money. I never wanted money. I worked when I was from 16, 17, 18 on river drives and tobacco picking, things like that. But that was just enjoyment. It wasn't, I've never piled any money to the side. So I'm not saying that, I don't think you can cure these people that suffered because you throw some millions. I heard there's millions that have been given to, but it comes to the same thing that native people get a lot of money, but they end up only getting maybe $4 a year. There's so many of them. That's a concept I have money in.
What are your thoughts on the government's attempt to reconciliation with Indigenous people today?
What do you say? Did you say about the government?
The government's attempt to reconciliation with Indigenous people today.
I don't really know. I wouldn't want to get into it. There is some people that are doing that, and they don't do it for nothing either. You never see anybody going to Ottawa for nothing and doing that, and doing all this here, walking around, speaking about it. They're all funded, you know, these people. I mean, I'm sort of against that, dude. They think nobody's ever come to my house and said, "How you doing, Peter?" And nobody. How big they are and everything, but I'd have to go and listen to them at the school someplace and say, "Oh, you're making me feel good now because I heard you talking about reconciliation and all this." So I might be against it. I don't know.
How old were you when you left Spanish again?
I think about 13, 14.
Did you go back to your reservation?
I went back home, and so I remember that I ran back home, and there was no, like they say, there was no shortage of food or anything. I don't know what it was before, but why did it's like somebody blacking out and finding himself over there, and blacking out again and finding himself at home, and there's nothing different, but whatever happened over there happened, and the teachings that they gave you, and the routine, I think this is the routine. You have to do this, you have to do that. First time I got there, they said you go and clean up the toilets, and there's about 25 of them in a row. And the guy that broke me in to clean those toilets, he was a scared little boy. I realized that today. He says, "Peter, do this right, do this right, do this, clean this good." He was actually scared for himself, because if he didn't break me in right, he was going to get punished. So he had to put into me that, don't miss this, don't miss that, don't miss that, all that dirty old stuff that I had to clean. But he wanted me to clean every nick and cranny there, because he was scared. And then when I done it, then I was scared, because it was inspected after. Anything that we ever done had to be inspected by those like the Kunyak, they call them, black robes. Yeah. You're getting me worked up.
Do you consider yourself a survivor of residential school?
I consider myself a victim. That's another thing that we talked about. A lot of them, they say we survived. I was watching TV one time. There was a plane crashed or something and landed on the Hudson River. And those people came out of that plane, and they went on the wings, a whole bunch of them. They called them survivors. They didn't die. They called them survivors. Us guys, I don't call myself survivor. I call myself a victim, because I carried that shit what they instilled in me. You know, those people. I was so happy for them when I seen them. I seen them coming out of that big plane and walking on the wings. Those were survivors. That's what I believe.
How do you feel about the Catholic religion, and did you grow up hating the Catholic system?
Not really, no. Because I think when I came out of that, I didn't blame the church or anything. You don't blame the church, but you blame the people that are dressed in black, the robes, not the suits, but the robes. because they can go like this, eh? And they can open up and filth, you know? And that's the thing. Don't ask me anymore.
Done? Well, thank you for coming and doing an interview with me.
I'm happy to. I'm happy because there is things, just like in the native culture, there is things that are negative that you don't want a person to want to pass on. Same as when you talk to young people, and I talk to a lot of young people, I don't want to tell them, I got to watch myself, how I talk to them. I got to watch every word I say. Migwans for having me.